Hello everybody! Welcome to our first Warrior Cats Wednesday. I figured we would start off our first Warrior Cats Wednesday by discussing how the current arc is going. We're about halfway through now with 3 books out of 6 being released. I'm going to discuss my opinions on the current ongoing plot, the characters, as well as any predictions that I have for what's going on. By the way, if you're not fully caught up, this is going to contain spoilers for the most recent arc. So be warned, if you have not read all the books yet, proceed with caution, because I am going to be talking spoilers. So, starting with our main characters, so far, I think the strongest one is definitely Moonpaw. She has the most intriguing arc with the fact she's being haunted by her dead sister, and the fact that basically everybody in her clan thinks that she's dangerous, or just a freak. And of course, Tawny Pelt blaming her for Brambleclaw's death at some point. And of course, she just made the decision to run away. I also appreciate how realistic her character is when it comes to how she's being treated. She doesn't want to be treated like she's different, which does lead to her ignoring or avoiding her problems, rather than dealing with them head on. I think that's pretty realistic for people around that age that have to deal with being an outcast and dealing with the fact that they're different from a lot of people. I also appreciate how in the first book she grappled on whether or not she wanted to be a medicine cat or a warrior. So that was interesting to see. The fact that she ultimately decided to go with warrior was unique. The last time we saw that, it was with Hollyleaf, and it was not really a huge part of her character. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people forgot that she wanted to be a medicine cat at some point, because she quickly just forgot about it. I also think that Moonpaw's design stands out the most. She's got the split in half face, so a lot of cats notice her, and then even after she becomes a background character, there's gotta be a way for her to be important. Either that, or they make her run away forever, and then she never appears again because she looks way too cool to be brushed to the side. My second favorite protagonist of this arc so far is Starlingpaw, surprisingly enough, because he doesn't have a whole lot of interesting things going for him, and I think that's why I like him so much. He is just a conspiratorial teenager who wants to be important. He happened to overhear Tawny Pelt talking to herself in her sleep, and was like, clearly I must be important. So spends the rest of his time on screen thinking that he's super important, and tries to come up with any way for him at all to be making sense of something. I guess he is important with the fact that he is related to Tree, and I guess like Needleclaw or whatever, so like previous protagonists. But another thing I like is the fact that he's struggling with the death of his father. I think it was interesting in the first book we had Leafstar as our protagonist, and then switched over to Starlingpaw afterwards, which I don't mind that. We've had more than enough Leafstar protagonist books. We've seen her perspective quite a lot, and it isn't really the best, like 5 out of 10 of the times that we get it. But yeah, Starlingpaw being super paranoid and always looking for things that aren't always there, which, knowing these are the Warrior Cats books, it's probably going to be that he is right, but I like the idea that he's not. Like, he's probably going to slip up more times than not in trying to figure out what's going on. And I think that's my favorite part about him. He makes mistakes because he's getting ahead of himself, trying to believe, like, oh, important. Oh, I have to save the clans. When really he's just a kid and it's not really supposed to be on his back all the time. Like, the fact that he even knew about any of this was an accident. One thing I wish would be a little bit more important is the fact that he can see Morning Kit, because so far that hasn't really been a huge plot point, but we are only halfway through. We have 3 more books to go. I'm sure it's going to be important soon. I think Morning Kit is going to be the main antagonist, even though she's not going to cause as much damage as previous villains have, such as like Ashburr or Splashtail. It's like, she only has one goal, and the goal is to be with Moonpaw forever. Though she can and probably will get more malicious as time goes on. And then Tawny Pelt. I'm really glad we have Tawny Pelt as his perspective character again, because her novella was okay, but it wasn't the greatest, you know? Like, absolutely I love that book because Shadowsight was in it. So, like, we get to go on an adventure with Tawny Pelt, Dovewing, and Shadowsight, but we're not here to talk about the novella right now. We're talking about the current going arc. Something I appreciate about Tawny Pelt's character is that, in contrast to the previous arc, The previous arc, A Starless Clan, focused a lot on the newer generation having to step up and be adults as opposed to the older generation, who often kind of makes things a little bit complicated, like needlessly difficult for the newer generations, all because they're super set in their ways. But now we get to see a more positive side of that, where the elders actually have to use their knowledge in order to help the clans with current going issues. So, that's nice. I appreciate that. I also like to see Tawny Pelt's interactions with ThunderClan, because, she has not talked to ThunderClan a lot throughout the books ever since she left them in the first arc. So it's nice to see her go back and everyone's like, oh, Tawny Pelt, our best friend. Especially seeing her interact with Squirrel Star. I've always liked her and Squirrel Star being friends, though they never really interacted on screen before. The only thing they had in common was Brambleclaw, and that's just annoying. But at long last, they have conversations together on a daily basis, basically. I also appreciate Tawny Pelt going out of her way to defy Tiger Star again. Like, you think he would have learned after the first time that happened, Anyways, moving past the whole main character talk, good news. Ding dong, the witch is dead, the witch is dead, the witch is dead. Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead. Yeah, Brambleclaw is dead. And I could not be happier. No matter anything good that he has ever done for the clans, he's a bastard, and I'm glad he's dead. I think a lot of people could probably agree with me that, it's great that he's finally gone. Sorry to all Brambleclaw fans, but I'm pretty sure at this point in time, Brambleclaw fans are massively outweighed by those of us who don't like him, and I'm one of those people that don't like him. So it was very nice to see him pass away, but it was not very nice to see Jay Feather, I hate my mom, say, oh, I will do anything for my father. Okay, why does your father matter more to you than either of your mothers? Speaking of Jay Feather, I really like his character in this arc. I've always been a huge Jay Feather fan. I actually have a plushie of him, as you know. And it was nice to see him actually get along with another cat. I like him and Moonpaw's friendship. It's nice. He's usually super grumpy, and to see him lighten up is always the best. Like, my favorite part about Jay Feather's character is the fact that he's so grumpy all the time that when he's nice, it's a rarity. So to see him genuinely going out of his way to go support Moonpaw is not only super in character for him, but it's also just sweet. I also like how his connection with spirits in StarClan is still very clear, with the fact that he's able to sense Morning Kit before he can, hear her or see her like anybody else could. It's like he can't dreamwalk anymore, but he still knows that they're there. They're still very much a part of his life. I also appreciate the fact that finally, in the Warrior Cats books, even though it was forced, an apprentice told cats in their life what was going on with them. Like, it would be hard to ignore that problem forever unless she ran away even sooner. But I'm glad they didn't take that route. I'm glad they had her talk to her peers and tell them what was going on. And they listened, and they tried to help her with the help of Tree, who is always super smart and knows exactly how to deal with spirits. Overall, great change of pace that I'm very appreciative of. I like this pace. Can we stay on it? One thing I will say is that I want to see Frost on again. I hope that happens. It's always a real tragedy whenever it's like Warrior Cat's main character becomes super background character number 1 and gets forgotten about for the rest of time. It's like, that has happened quite a few times. I'm pretty sure nobody talks about Rootspring ever. He gets the mention here and then, but nobody talks about him. So I'm glad that Shadowsight actually didn't get that treatment and is still talked about. Like, it's only become a trend with the more recent books. This is like, Nightheart barely got a mention. Sunbeam is at least Moonpaw's mentor. But Frostdawn has not appeared once. I also hope that we go back to the Dark Forest in this arc. It would be great. Because, like, even though we have a stray, random spirit cat as the main antagonist for this arc so far, it would be nice to go back and check up on the Dark Forest. Maybe have, again, StarClan and the Dark Forest have to kind of work together to deal with Morning Kit. Because she's just not gonna piss off. She's gonna keep bothering cats until the end of time. It's like, she's not that big of a threat until later on in the arc, but she's too much of a threat to be let loose. Anyways, moving forward, I want to discuss a couple predictions that I have, or at least like one prediction that I have. The most major one is that the lake territory, the actual lake surrounding them, might end up being the new moon pool, unless they do actually have like a journey where they have to go all the way to another territory, because it's been several arcs since we last did that, which I'm pretty sure I speak for everyone when I say please don't do that again, because it didn't turn out well the last time. We had several books of just walking. If I wanted to read that, I would read Lord of the Rings, and there's a reason I haven't done that yet. I say yet as if I'm ever going to. I'm not. If we are going to do a major journey again, please keep it to one book. One. We do not need 3. I'm trying to do the 3 signal, but these paws do not let me do that. But yeah, please, Aaron Hunter writing team, keep it to 1 book only if we're going somewhere. Another prediction I have is that there is going to be another traitor in the clan. Like, the whole beware the two-faced cat with a paw in each world. Does it not seem way too obvious for it to be Moonpaw? Like, yes, it's gonna be her at some point, like, in a way, but no way can that just be her. It feels way too obvious. Like, how we have this mystery sorted out from the, and then we're still having two protagonists struggling to figure out who it is. It's gotta be someone else other than just Moonpaw. I'm going to guess that it's in SkyClan, just like Starling Paw is predicting. Because again, despite the fact that he's a conspiratorial kid, there's gotta be a chance that he's right in a way. Even though it would be just as cool if he wasn't and he was wrong about literally everything. He was blowing it out of proportion. Not often do we have protagonists who are actually wrong about something and have to come to terms with the fact that they thought too much of what they were doing. It feels rather discouraging and a little bit bleak, but it would be a change of pace that I would welcome. It's not bad to have a cat be like, oh, so I was wrong. Whoops. Well, at least we're not in as much danger as I thought we would be. But yeah, I genuinely believe that if we aren't moving, then the lake around the lake territories is going to be the new moon pool. I'm not sure how it's going to work. No, wait, I know exactly how it's going to work. They're going to go to the island where the gatherings are held, and that's going to be their way to contact Star of Clan. Like, it could work. It could work if StarClan is like, yeah, sure, we'll use the lake, even though it's used for lots of things. Though I guess, to be fair, the moon pool is a sacred place meant only for StarClan. But at some point you gotta compromise a little bit, right? You know? Like, churches are used for weddings and funerals, as well as sermons. Anyways, final topic that I want to get onto is Leafstar and Hawkwing. Who do I think is going to be the leader of SkyClan? I'm going to say I think it's going to be Hawkwing in the end, because they seem a little bit dedicated to having Leafstar get kicked out. And again, about Starling Paw's suspicion of him, I think it's being blown out of proportion and that he's not actually as bad as he seems. It just, like, the fact that Hawkwing was always a good guy, no way that he's going to suddenly turn around and be evil. We had a perspective book on him. It seems a little far-fetched that they would take a main character and be like, that's our villain now. And not in the way that they do it with, like, Tiger Star the Second or Bramblestar. Not Bramblestar, I meant Brambleclaw. Wait, I'm not done yet. Final thing I want to address, are Tawny Pelt and Crowfeather gonna get together? No! They better not. They seem very loyal to their clans, and I have no suspicion that they're going to get together. And also, Crowfeather has had enough wives. Don't do it. Do not. Don't do it. Crowfeather doesn't need another situationship or whatever. That's enough. Anyways, I think that is it for now. What are your thoughts? Do you have any predictions? Do you think my predictions are wrong? Do you think I missed anything? And would you like me to do a second part on this before the arc is finished? Let me know down in the comments below. Maybe even tell me about your favorite warrior cat or your favorite clan, you know, for fun. And I will see you next week. Goodbye! We're about halfway through now with 3 books.